Yeah, so today I'm just going to quickly run you guys through a Zoleo training session. Now, in this slide presentation, I'm going to be running through each feature one by one, what they are and how they work, as well as an overview about the actual device itself. Um, so to begin, the Zoleo is a satellite communicator, so it's a safety and communications device designed for when you are in areas outside of mobile coverage. So with this device, you're going to be given a dedicated phone number and email address, which means every single time you use it to send a text or an email, it's going to come from that number or address. In terms of the features that you're going to have with this device, you're looking at two-way messaging via text and email, a two-way SOS system, pre-selected check-in messages that you can send out, location tracking, and weather updates all in one. Now, the device works with the Zoleo app, so it is a complementary device, meaning in order to unlock its full potential, it will need to be paired with the Zoleo app via Bluetooth. That said, it still can be used as a standalone device for SOS functionality and check-in messages. But again, in order to unlock its full potential, you're going to have to make sure that you have the Zoleo app downloaded on your smartphone and it's connected with Bluetooth. Now, the device itself uses the Iridium satellite network. So, for those of you who are who aren't familiar with the Iridium satellite network, it is the most established satellite network there is. And that's because we use something called a LEO satellite. So, LEO satellite stands for a low Earth orbiting satellite. Why that's important is because there are 66 of them in orbit, and each one is constantly moving. So, what that means for the user is as long as they have a view of the sky, you're going to be able to get 100% global coverage anywhere in the world. Now, there may be some situations where, for example, you are in an area where maybe visibility of the sky isn't too great, or you're in like a canyon sort of area, in which case you don't have coverage straight away. No need to worry. All you have to do in that situation is wait a few minutes, and because those satellites are constantly moving, you'll fall back into coverage. The device itself is IP68 rated. So what that means is it's waterproof in under 1.5 meters of water for up to 30 minutes, and it's also completely dust and shock resistant as well. So it's going to be able to withstand anything you throw at it. If you accidentally hit it against something or drop it, it's going to be completely fine. It also comes with 200 hours of battery life, and that's when you're sending a message every 12 minutes. So in most situations, most people are using this device to check in with either work or loved ones, maybe once or twice an hour, in which case it's going to last even longer than that. And the great thing is it does have a rechargeable battery. So a little micro USB on the side will get it from 0% to 100% within 2 hours in a standard charger. Now we're going to get into the actual features of the device itself. So to begin with, the most important one, and that's the progressive SOS. So there are two sorts of SOS types out there. You've got your progressive SOS and your standard SOS. So with standard SOS, devices that use this are going to be sending out a one-way distress signal, and then there's no way of actually receiving any feedback. So you don't actually know if anybody has received the signal or not. With progressive SOS and Zoleo, on the other hand, we actually offer the ability to text back and forth with Global Rescue, who are the emergency response coordinator we use. So what that process looks like is either on the device itself, as you can see on the screen there, there's a big red SOS button that you press down, or in the Zoleo app, there's an SOS button that you press. So once that button's been pressed, your signal and location will be sent to Global Rescue. They will actually reach out to you and say, hey, can you talk? What's the issue? From there, you can text back and forth and give them a really clear understanding of what the problem is. Global Rescue will then reach out to the local emergency service group and provide you with status updates the whole way through. So that way you've got peace of mind in knowing who's actually going to come out to help you and how long they're going to take in doing so. Then we have something called Medical Assist. So Medical Assist is one of our newer features. Basically what it is for a situation where you need some form of medical advice when you're out in the field, but it's not an emergency situation. So how that works is medical assist will put you into contact if you're seeking a medical advice with somebody on site at the Global Rescue headquarters. Now, then we've got something called a check-in message, and this is probably the most used feature with the device, of the device, and that's because basically what it is, it's a pre-selected message that you can send out to up to 5 different contacts at a time. And what that message says is, I'm okay, my location is. So it's going to be sent with your GPS coordinates as well of where you were at the time of sending that message. So it's super handy in a work situation if you are out in the field and you want to check in with your manager once an hour, or however frequently you want to do it. It is a manual setting, so every single time you want to send that message out, you either press the button on the top of the device, or there's a little tick in the top of the Zoleo app that you press, and that message can be sent again to up to 5 different people all at once. Then we've got weather updates. So this is probably more of a setting for a feature for those who are going to be out in more rough conditions. X Weather gives the user the ability to get weather updates either for their exact location or any other location. So super, super handy if you are going to be actually moving around from point to point and you want to make sure it's safe in a certain area before you decide to do so. So with this weather report, you're going to get access to, I guess, the temperature. You're going to get to be able to view the strength of the wind, how much rain is expected to be, when the sun rises, and when it sets as well. That leads us into Location Share Plus. Now, Location Share Plus, it is important to mention that this feature is an additional extra. It's going to cost $7.95 per device per month. And basically what this gives the user the ability to do is track themselves or send their location on a breadcrumb trail to others. So the way this feature actually works is you can set an interval time anywhere as frequently as every 6 minutes, all the way through to every 4 hours. Um, and what happens is, for example, if you've got it set to every hour, once an hour, your location will be pinpointed on a map. And just like the check-in messages can be shared with up to 5 different people, as you keep moving and time progresses, it's going to start to join up and look like a breadcrumb trail. It is in chronological order as well. So super, super handy for 2 things. Firstly, if you get lost, you can use it to backtrack and find your way again. But more importantly, again, if you are out in the field and you've got somebody who wants to be able to see your location throughout the day, they can go in and see that. That then leads into Zoleo Track. So Zoleo Track is more of well, it's our newest feature for our enterprise customers. So very similar to Location Share Plus, except Zoleo Track gives account holders with multiple devices under the same account the ability to view the location of each of those devices all under the same screen. Then that's just a quick little graph, a sort of table showing the, I guess, when each message or when each feature can be used, but we've already touched on that. And then finally, the most important part is the plans themselves. So for the time being, we offer the 3 different monthly plans, ranging from $32 a month all the way up to $80 per month. Now, the only difference between these 3 plans is the amount of total satellite messages included. So it is worth mentioning as well, as you can see here, that those check-in messages, which are those pre-selected messages we touched on earlier that say, I'm okay, you get an unlimited amount of those no matter what plan you're on. So for most people and most businesses, what that means for them is they can come down to a cheaper plan and still be covered, because at the end of the day, they just want to be able to check in a few times a day. So basic plan, $32 a month. You're going to get 25 satellite messages, and that's referring to messages where you're sitting there and typing the message out yourself. In touch plan, $55 a month and 250 messages. And then the unlimited plan, $80 a month, and you get an unlimited amount of messages. So it is also worth mentioning that when you first sign up, you are going to be locked in for 3 months. During that time period, you can change what plan you're on. You just can't cancel. After that, if you want to hop on and off month by month, then you can do so by suspending for $3.95. So if you come back from using the device and you know you're not going to use it for a set period of time, then you've got 2 different options. You can either suspend for $3.95 and what that per month, and what that means is when you go to reactivate, you're gonna have to you get to avoid that $40 activation fee, plus you keep that phone number and email address that you were first given as well. Alternatively, what you can do is cancel altogether. But then that way, when you go to reactivate, what's going to happen is you're going to have to re-enter that 3-month lock-in period. You're going to be given a new phone number and new email address as well. So majority of the time, people will just end up suspending rather than canceling because it ends up being a lot more flexible and cost effective to do so. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this deck slides. I'll stop sharing my screen now and I'll run through a live demonstration of the actual Zoleo app itself.